I'm 75 years old, and I'm sitting alone in a quiet house when I finally admit this to myself. I confused being busy with being important for most of my life. That mistake didn't ruin my life all at once. It just hollowed it out slowly, year by year, until I noticed how quiet everything had become. I'm not telling this because I need forgiveness. I don't even know who I'd ask anymore. I'm telling it because I don't have much time left, and the truth feels heavier when you carry it alone. These days, my mornings are slow. I wake up before the sun because my body does that now, whether I want it to or not. The house makes noises it never used to. Pipes clicking, wood settling, a refrigerator humming too loudly in an empty kitchen. I drink my coffee black. I always have. For decades, I drank it standing up, already halfway out the door, already late for something that felt urgent. Now I sit down. There's nowhere I need to rush to anymore. That's when the memories come. Not the big ones you expect, but the small, ordinary moments I didn't notice while they were happening. Those are the ones that hurt the most. When I was younger, being busy felt like proof that I mattered. If my phone rang, if my calendar was full, if people needed me, I felt solid, necessary. I mistook that feeling for purpose. In my 20s and 30s, I worked constantly, not because I loved the work, but because it made me feel respectable. It gave me something to point to when someone asked how I was doing. Busy, I'd say, always busy. I wasn't a villain. I wasn't cruel or reckless or careless on purpose. I showed up when it counted. At least, that's what I told myself. I paid the bills. I kept food on the table. I said yes to responsibility, yes to overtime, yes to favors that made other people's lives easier. And every one of those yeses came with a quiet no. I barely noticed. I said no to lingering at the dinner table, no to sitting on the floor and listening to stories that didn't go anywhere, no to afternoons that had no outcome. I told myself there would be time later. There's a particular memory that returns often now. I was in my 40s. One of my kids had a school event. Nothing major, just a small performance. I remember standing in the kitchen, tie half knotted, listening to the clock. I could have made it. If I left right then, I would have been there. But there was a call I hadn't returned. Something at work that felt pressing. "I'll catch the next one," I said, out loud, confident there was no next one. Not because there wasn't another event, but because something shifted after that. They stopped asking with the same hope in their voice. I didn't notice. I was busy. That's how it happens. Not with fights or slammed doors, just with small adjustments. People adapt to your absence. At work, I was reliable. That word followed me. Everywhere. Dependable. Solid. Always available. I liked how it sounded. I liked how it made me feel taller than I was. But reliability has a shadow side no one talks about. When you're always available, people stop seeing you. They just see what you can do for them. I retired thinking someone would notice the gap I left. I imagined conversations starting with my name, meetings feeling off without me. What happened instead was silence. Not cruel silence, just practical silence. They filled my position in a month, maybe less. That was my first real shock. Not anger, just confusion. I had been so busy. How could I be so easily replaced? At home, the distance had already grown. By the time I had hours to give, there was no one waiting for them. Conversations with my family became polite updates instead of stories, weather-level talk. I told myself this was normal. People grow up, lives move on. But late at night, when the house was dark, I felt something I couldn't name then. Now I know it was grief, not for what I lost, but for what I postponed until it disappeared. The turning point didn't come with fireworks. It came quietly, the way most truths do. A friend from work died suddenly. Heart attack. No warning. I went to the funeral and listened to people speak about him. They talked about his laugh, how he lingered, how he made time. No one mentioned his productivity. I remember sitting there, hands folded, realizing something that made my chest feel hollow. If someone stood up to speak about me, what would they say? He was always working. He returned calls quickly. He stayed late. It didn't feel like enough. It still doesn't. After that, time felt different, sharper, like something I could hear ticking even in quiet rooms. I tried then to change. But change at that age isn't dramatic. It's awkward. You start calling people who have already built lives without you. You offer time they no longer need. You realize presence only matters when it's given early. There are things I can't fix now. Birthdays I missed that no longer hurt anyone but me. Conversations that would feel forced if I tried to have them today. I can't go back and sit on the floor. I can't undo the nights I chose emails over silence together. What's gone is gone. And that's the part no one prepares you for. We talk a lot about regret, like it's loud and dramatic. It isn't. It's quiet. It's sitting in a chair in the afternoon with nothing you need to do and realizing the people you postponed are living their lives somewhere else. It's understanding that importance isn't declared, it's felt, and only by the people you're present with. If you're listening to this and you're busy, I won't tell you to stop. I know what it feels like to hear that and dismiss it. I'll just tell you what I wish I'd known. Being needed is not the same as being loved. Being productive is not the same as being remembered. The things that felt interruptive were often the point. The conversations that wandered, the moments that led nowhere. I thought importance came from demand. It doesn't. It comes from showing up when it's inconvenient, from staying when there's nothing to gain. Now, at 75, my days are quieter than I ever imagined. Some of that quiet is peaceful. Some of it is heavy. I've learned to live with both. If this meant something to you, sit with it for a moment. You don't have to do anything about it right now. Just notice where your time goes. It runs faster than you think. I'll finish my coffee soon. The sun will be higher. The house will stay quiet. And I'll carry this truth with me, the way I should have carried other things earlier, gently and without waiting.